Donnie Blaze, right? Did anyone else think from when we saw that little poster in the trailer that it might be Johnny Blaze? Come on, Marvel. You know what you're doing to us. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new She-Hulk Episode 4 spoiler review. We're discussing the entire episode on full spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet, make sure to go watch it and then come back. As well as make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy talking Marvel, geeky, movies, TV, whatever you might like. If you're a geek, you are in the right place. So let's start talking this episode. So last week's episode was absolutely my least favorite. I was absolutely stunned by Meg Thee Stallion and She-Hulk twerking it out that I completely even forgot that someone tried to jump She-Hulk and stab her to steal her blood. We didn't get any more resolution to that in this episode in particular, but we did get to confirm and continue pretty much how the structure of this show is going to go. It seems like it's She-Hulk, we got the setup, and then she's in a court case. And then another court case. And we have another court case, of course, coming up because Tatiana is actually suing her for the trademark She-Hulk. Which is insane. And I have a prediction. I think Daredevil, Matt Murdock himself, is going to be representing Tatiana next week. That's going to be my weird and crazy thing. Or it's Foggy. And I think it's going to be, of course, Murdock and stuff like that. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe my theory is way out of left field. We know Daredevil's in this show. Come on now. You can't get wrong with that. So that's my theory for next week, and that's kind of the conclusion to this. But what this episode really much dives into once again, and I found this to be a really fun episode. Of course, more Benedict Wong is always big pro to me. But also seeing this whole Donnie Blaze and how Wong is pissed and he wants to sue and cease and desist that this guy stops using this magic because of what happened. And then that girl who's like, Wongy, yeah, some crazy stuff. But I like, and this is what I'm starting to kind of appreciate more about the She-Hulk as the more and more episodes I watch, is that this feels like a damage control comic that you would read, where it's just from the normal perspective of civilians and seeing how the everyday world works in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not these ever-growing stakes around the world that could possibly stop everything, but it's just seeing how everything kind of works. And I kind of like that. This girl goes to a magic show, ends up giving, pretty much making a deal with the devil himself in a way, a demon. Then he teleports her to Wong. She spoils The Sopranos for Wong and anyone else who's never watched The Sopranos. And it just kind of goes from there. And that whole relationship that Wong forms with that girl is funny. And I think Benedict Wong really made it work. But it feels like something that, again, would happen in early 80s or 90s. Marvel comic, and I kind of dig that vibe. It's so different than the MCU is really much established, but it's stupid, but it's fun stupid, and I have a lot of fun seeing this. I mean, in this episode we see She-Hulk swiping people on Tinder pretty much, and ends up finding a date, which again is funny, seeing how She-Hulk, how does this normal person who doesn't want to be a superhero, how does that end up working when it comes down to dates and everything of that nature? So we're going to talk about that in a second, but I do want to get out of the way the whole Donnie Blaze and things like that. Come on, why are you calling him Donnie Blaze, guys? You know we all want Johnny Blaze in this world. Feels like a little bit on the nose. But anyways, I did like the whole cease and desist. I thought the court trial was funny, how they brought the girl in and all those things, and it really did not go that well. And then, of course, Donnie Blaze continues to do it, brings some demons in, and of course, Wong, he calls Wong, he goes, Wong, I need your help. Wong goes out there to save the universe, kills these gremlin-looking things, sends them back through a different portal, has to call She-Hulk in. He goes, do what Hulks do best, smash, and he smashes the demon down. And this was, comparably to the other action scenes that we've seen in this is the best one yet. And it was fun seeing She-Hulk team up with Wong, and I had fun with that aspect. But the funniest thing about this entire episode really much goes back to the whole dating aspect. I know we saw this in the trailer, and it was fun for what we saw. Seeing how this normal girl loses her whole dating and how her paralegal, her best friend's trying to get her out of her comfort zone. She goes, have you ever think of making a She-Hulk one? She doesn't. She tries herself. If you've ever done online dating, this is kind of how it feels. She goes on that date with that one guy. It's just obviously crap. And then, she's like, screw it, I'll do the She-Hulk in so many matches and all these weird dates. And then she meets this one guy who seems perfect. She takes him back. And, I'm sure they did the deeds, And then, of course, he even respected her because she was She-Hulk. And when she went through the portal and came back and all things like that. Then she changes back and he doesn't want to be with her. And I think that just goes back again to the dating life cycle of how people are not open. And I really like how that touches on it in a very funny way, but in the same satirical manner, in the way that it kind of looks at our world. And a lot of the things in this show are kind of actually looking at our world. And while some things go a little bit too extreme, like last week with Meg Thee Stallion and She-Hulk twerking, I thought that was a little bit too much personally for me. This episode seems to kind of have that right balance of humor that leans into the fun satirical manner of what's going on, and as well as kind of balancing out of how the MCU world would relate to ours if heroes, villains, demons, magic, superheroes, comic book, all that sorts of things were coming to life. And I think that's where She-Hulk really excels. Now, this week was fun. It didn't really move the story too far ahead, other than the fact that Jennifer Walters herself is now going to maybe need a lawyer. Maybe I didn't even think about that. Why did I say Tatiana is going to be the one needing to be represented? I actually think maybe one of the two actually gets Matt Murdock themselves. Who knows at this point? Maybe she represents herself in some way, shape, and form. But I'm really curious to see where next week's episode takes us. And I overall am just having fun with this show. And I think that's the biggest word to say about this is fun. I think out of all the MCU television shows that we've gotten so far, there's been some serious ones, there's been some really enjoyable ones, some darker ones that have such adventure to it, like Moon Knight, which I absolutely love, Loki, which brings this whole new element to the MCU. But between this and Miss Marvel and Hawkeye, I think this is just a fine line of fun. And I'm having a lot of fun with this series. So make sure you guys leave your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section on what your guys' thoughts are on this episode. Did you enjoy? Did you not? Is this show just not for you at all? Let me know down below. And again, just shout out to Tatiana Maslany, who is creating a very memorable character for this show, She-Hulk. Plus, I forgot to mention this. I had an issue with She-Hulk CGI last week, but I thought the whole fight scene and every sequence of her as She-Hulk in here actually was some of the best that they have done so far. So bravo to the visual effects team. Again, it's not still perfect, but this is, I don't know if it's just my eyes, my viewpoint finally adjusting to this, but it actually looks pretty good, I thought, this week. So maybe I'm just crazy, maybe I'm not, but let me know down below your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much again for watching this, and of course, until next time, stay classy.